The Israeli Prime Minister says he has yet to agree to the latest US-backed proposal for peace in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu making his first public comment after the US president touted last week a major milestone towards implementing a plan agreed last year. This would involve a phased disarmament of militant groups, including Hamas, matched with a complete Israeli pullout.
אני עומד איתן על האינטרסים הביטחוניים שלנו. אנחנו לא נסוגים מהקווים הנוכחיים שלנו עד שהחמאס יפורק לגמרי מנשקו. אחד.
Mr. Netanyahu meeting Monday with the Board of Peace. This is a board set up and backed by Donald Trump himself, where Mr. Netanyahu received guarantees that the IDF would not have to withdraw after Hamas disarms. Hamas would not have to withdraw until after Hamas disarms. Hamas earlier stressing it would only hand in its weapons if Israel first withdrew. Mr. Netanyahu's remarks casting fresh doubt on the prospects of an end to a close to 3-year conflict. Blake Sifton has been tracking this story for CNN. He joins us live from Tel Aviv. Blake, Prime Minister Netanyahu's official comment that possibly frustrating Donald Trump's wish for a speedy and sustained end to war in Gaza.
Good evening, Wei Su. Prime Minister Netanyahu has finally responded to this disarmament proposal after days of silence, and his comments do appear to put the entire proposal in jeopardy. He appeared to reject it as it stands. He referred to it as a draft, but this was not meant to be a draft to be discussed further. It was seen as an agreement that took mediators months to work out with Hamas. It called on Hamas to surrender their arms, to disarm in phases, to be accompanied by the gradual withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. To begin with, the Israeli military would be expected to return to the so-called yellow line. That's the position they held in Gaza when the ceasefire came into effect in October of last year that left them in control of some 53% of the Strip. They have since pushed deeper into Gaza and now control around 60% of territory there. But in his comments, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that the Israeli military would not withdraw from any territory in Gaza until Hamas had been completely and totally disarmed. Now, that will likely be a non-starter for Hamas and could very well kill the plan as it currently stands. Now, another part of this plan is that it called on the Israeli military to immediately halt all strikes in Gaza. We should remember that since the ceasefire came into effect in October, around 1,200 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli strikes in Gaza. Those strikes have increased in recent weeks, and they spiked quite dramatically over the last few days after President Trump announced that Hamas had agreed to disarm. In reference to those ongoing strikes, Netanyahu said, "We will allow IDF troops to do everything necessary to protect themselves, protect our territory, and protect our citizens."
Prime Minister Netanyahu under pressure both within his coalition and likely from the people himself. Israel going for elections late October.
That's right. Prime Minister Netanyahu is under extraordinary pressure from within his own government not to withdraw from Gaza, but then he is also under pressure from the Trump administration to go along with this plan. So that position could perhaps explain the delay in his public response. Now, when it comes to his own government, his own defense minister, Israel Katz, has repeatedly vowed that the Israeli military will remain in Gaza permanently. And of course, Netanyahu's far-right coalition partners are completely against any withdrawal from Gaza or any limits placed on the Israeli military's ability to strike in Gaza. They, in many cases, want Gaza to be resettled. Far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir called this plan unacceptable when it was announced last week and said that the assassinations of Hamas members in Gaza should continue. Now, another major factor here is that Israel is going to the polls at the end of October in national elections, and many voters are deeply distrustful of the idea that Hamas would actually disarm. So Prime Minister Netanyahu will have to navigate this entire situation very carefully as he faces a tough re-election campaign at the end of October. But despite all of that, the Trump administration very much does expect the Israeli government to go along with this plan. When President Trump announced last week that Hamas had agreed to disarm, a U.S. official speaking on condition of anonymity told the media that it doesn't call on Israel to do anything that it hasn't already agreed to in the Gaza ceasefire in October. And he said that if they were to block this plan, President Trump would be very, very disappointed.
Thanks. Blake Sifton there for CNA live from Tel Aviv.